Hi everybody, thank you for checking out my review for this AutoVox backup camera. I actually have done a lot of the work ahead of time because I don't want to take up a whole lot of time on this review. I want to show you how to install it. It's super simple to install, but what I ended up doing is just taking the parts of the car that I needed to get off, the trim panels and stuff. I already got those off, and the reason why is because every car will be a little bit different. YouTube is an excellent resource for instructions on how to do it for your particular car. So regardless of which car you have, the first thing that you're going to do is take off the license plate. And then you're going to want to try to figure out where you're going to mount this thing. So it works best above the license plate like so. Now for this car, right here, you can't really see it, but right here is the latch release button. So you want to make sure that you can still get to the latch release button. If I mount it this way, I can still reach my fingers around the outside and open it up. If you can't, you might have to offset the camera. I just didn't want to do that. The other thing that might be an issue, let me get my license plate out here real fast. You need to make sure that when you put this down, that your license plate can actually fit back into the holes. So right there you see that if this is mounted this way, the holes still line up. So that's, and over on this side too. So that's super important. So this is exactly about how we're going to mount this camera. So with that being done, next thing we're gonna do is clean this off. I use rubbing alcohol because it's works really good to clean, and it also dries really nicely. So I'm going to put some on a paper towel here and just make sure that it's clean. And that's because if it's not, you're going to have an issue. You don't have to clean the whole thing, but if it's not, you're going to have an issue with the 3M tape sticking. Now, while this is drying, I want to show you there's a couple different ways that you can run the wire inside. You can run it. Let me take this off for 1 second. I'm gonna take it off the tripod. I'll be right back with you. All right, so you can run it through one of your license plate lights by just putting a screwdriver in there and kind of sliding this down. I don't want to do that, and the reason why is because the inside of my car, I took this trim panel off, but you can see it's got this whole piece here. So I can maybe try to fish the wires through there if I run it through the tail light. I don't really care to do that too much. So what I'm going to do, just to make it easy, is I'm going to just drill a hole right about here inside, right through where the license plate covers, and then I'll be able to reach my hand in here to run the wire. From that point, we're going to run the wires following this. This is all going to be covered, so I'm going to just run the wires around this way. I'll probably just zip tie up to it, and then from there I'm going to try to feed it in through here so that I can tap in and borrow this wire loom right here to keep things nicer, which means that I'm gonna have to take down the headliner a little bit. Okay, so this is a hatchback. It's a little bit more complicated to try to get set up, but that's the plan so far. So let me get this back on the tripod. I'm going to show you how to mount it, and I'm going to pop a hole in the back of this thing. I'll be right back with you. All right, so now that that is dried, what I'm going to do is just peel this off the sticker back here. You're going to make sure that it's exactly in the position that you want it. Yeah, I'll show you. That's a little better. So that's exactly the position that I want it, so that I can make sure that everything fits back in place. And then you're just going to press down. That's all you have to do. So I can still reach around. I can still reach around it to open my hatchback here. And that's it. So at this point, now we have to decide if we're going to run the wire up or where we want to run the wire. The good thing is that I really liked is that they made their connections really small. You can see that that's a really small wire. It means that you don't have to have a huge hole. So what I think I'm going to do, I'll probably just I'll just put it right here in the center. And what you want to do then is to make sure that wherever you drill through, if you're drilling, again, it's a lot easier to go through the license plate light, but if you're drilling, you want to make sure that there's nothing on the backside, so you're not drilling through some wire or some like lock mechanism or something. So I'm going to check that out, and then I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole, and I'll be right back with you. All right, so I drilled the hole. You can see I drilled it just big enough for that thing to slide through. I'm also going to cover this with some silicone before before I put the license plate back on, just to seal it off so that no moisture gets inside the car. I want to point this out as well. If you don't want the parking guidelines, the lines that are actually on the monitor, you can just cut this wire right there. They leave it out nice and easy for you. So with that done, I'm going to open this up. You're gonna have to excuse my big messy car here. And then I'm going to feed the wire straight through, and I'll show you that in just a second. All right, so let me adjust this here so that you can kind of see what's going on. All right, so this is the, there we go. This is the wire here. Can you see that? I can't see. Yeah, all right, you can see that. So I just fed the wire straight through there. You're gonna pull out all of the slack, just like so. And then now I'm just going to run the wire. Again, every car will be a little bit different, so I'm not gonna make you watch this. I'll show you the finished product after I actually run the wire down where I want it. So I wanted to show you this little trick that I use here. You can see that I ran the wire in, I zip tied it here. I didn't really have a good place to thread the wire. And the reason why is that these holes here, this is where the trim pieces clip in. So you don't want to mess with those at all. Same thing with this up here. So what I ended up doing is I drilled a hole right there, same size as the other ones there. But then to try to thread it through, see, focus here. All right. Then to try to thread it through the bar here was really, really hard through this back door here. So I used a hanger. I fed the hanger through this point and just kind of walked it around here till I could see it there, and this is a bigger hole, and then I can pull it out. So then you just attach it to the top here, and then you can thread it through. I'm going to use 2 hands to do it, so I'm going to put the camera down because I really want to be careful, and this is a kind of a small hole. But that's how you can kind of feed it through, because the hanger is a little more rigid. If you don't have an actual fish, this is kind of a bush fix for you. So if you have a wire fish, obviously that's a lot easier than doing it this way, but this is what I have, so thought I'd share that little tip with you. All right, so you can see I fished it all the way through here. I got it out here, and what ended up happening was I ran out of wire right there. So I had to feed this part, which is the next part that goes into the transmitter. I had to feed it up through this same wire loom here. And all you do, there's a little line right here. You can see that. It lines up with a little notch that's in that side there. And once you line it up, you connect it in. So what I'm gonna do, just for good measure, because I don't really like to have to do things twice, is I'm gonna throw some electrical tape on that. And just to make sure that it doesn't pull apart when I'm stuffing everything back in place. The same will go for the other side. All right, so let's put this in here. We can tuck that back in here. I did have to cut a little bit of the wire harness here, this rubber wire harness, to fit these through, because it was just too fat, and that's really small. So what I'll end up doing is putting some tape on that, electrical tape on that as well. Now, if I get my pine needles out of the way. So now what I need to do is feed this through underneath the headliner here, and you can't really, there's just not enough space, so I'm going to back feed it, and I'm going to feed these wires up through here. I do want to tell you, this is the transmitter here. Make sure that you install your antenna just like that. So what I'm going to do now, be careful, because you really can damage these headliners. They're just cardboard. So yeah, try to not rip on those too bad. All right, so there's the yellow wire, and here's the red wire. So now I'm just going to connect yellow to yellow. Actually, I'm going to make it a little bit nicer there. So yellow to yellow like that, and red to red like that. Again, I'm going to throw some electrical tape over these, because I really don't want to have to do this. So an extra 30 seconds of taping to make sure these stay together will potentially save you a lot of hassle. So go ahead and throw some tape on like this. So just like that. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to feed everything down through here. Then we're going to work on this side, which these are the wires, and we're going to get those connected into the tail light, to the backup light. And that's it, and then this thing's installed. So I'll be right back with you. All right, so just to show you how to find the wire Obviously you're going to put the car in reverse. You can see that light turns on. So that means this is the backup light. This is the one that you want to tap into. To find out which one is positive, which one is negative, you can do a couple things. So looking at this, you can see this green runs from this one to that one and to that one. So that is likely the ground because it's connecting all three of them. But just to be sure, you can get one of these. This is a voltometer that I got from Harbor Freight for free. And let's see, so you can kind of see that. So what you're going to do is just use these probes. I suspect this yellow is the positive, so I'm going to put that on positive. You have to push through the insulation on the wire, and you can see that goes up to 13.6. If they're reversed, so let me go ahead and reverse it so you can see. So this is the positive, red is the positive. So now if they're reversed, you will see a negative. So you see, actually you can't see that. Let me put it here. All right, so you should see a negative 13. There it goes. All right, so there's your negative right there. That means that it's reversed. And so this is your positive. So red to yellow, that means yellow is positive, green is negative. We'll double check one more time. And there you go. So now it's a positive number. So you know that this yellow is the positive and this green is the negative. So now we can go ahead and tap into those wires. All right, so I've tapped into this wire here. And sorry, this one, this is the positive wire. So I want to show you how to do it with these little splicers here. So basically what this is that you thread these two wires here, you press down on this metal piece and it bridges those. It makes that connection and it pierces the insulation. So the first thing that I do is I cut off, see how it has a little bit showing, a little bit of the wire exposed. I cut that off just because I hate exposed wires. There's potential for ground. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to feed this through here. So there's two sides here. It really doesn't matter which one is which. Obviously, I find it easier to connect the wire that you're running straight through to this one, and then the black negative right here to that one. So I use a little bit of a screwdriver here. I use a screwdriver a little bit to help kind of pry that open and get that into place. So you want to make sure that it's all the way right there, all the way. So now this one's open. So now you can do one of two things. You can either feed this through straight like that, or you can send it in the same way you did the other wire. Easier to feed it in that way. I'm going to actually move that sticker down and slide that in one more time till you see it come out the other end. Then you're just going to take some pliers and you're going to just press down on that little metal piece. Try to press evenly to make sure that these make the connection. So once it's pressed all the way in, that should be good. I should note also this ground wire can be connected to anywhere metal. So anywhere you find some metal, sand off the paint, and you can just connect it right in. I know this is a ground wire because I tested it, so I'm just going to do that. And then now snap that in place. And you guessed it, a little bit of electrical tape just to make sure that everything is snug and secure and that I'm not going to have to take this taillight off to fix this ever. You can also see right here, let's see, maybe you can't. Let's lift this up a little bit for you. All right, so right here, I just fed the wire. You can feed it through the grommet. I just fed it through this backside because I can actually push this grommet down nice and secure with that, and it's not going to cause any problems. So that's how I fed that. So now we're all connected in. I'm going to put this back. Now we just have to find a place to secure the transmitter, and we're done. All right, so this is where I decided to secure the transmitter because I could adjust the antenna like that, and I knew it was going to be out of the way. You really want to make sure that you set your trim pieces in place and make sure that it's not going to cause problems before you mount it. I went ahead just because I hate rattles. I don't want to take a chance of the sticker coming loose because it didn't have a lot of purchase because I have a hole down here. So I just went ahead and put a zip tie on it as well. So you can see that's pretty easy. Just find a place that is out of the way and it should work. So now before I put all my trim pieces back on, I just want to run inside the cab and give this thing a test. Just wanted to point something out really fast. This is the suction cup mount here. Let me take that off. and it's got this little lever. So basically what you want to do is make sure that that lever is out, stick it up to your window wherever you decide you want to have it, like that, and then push the lever in place. From that point, you can see that it's got these little hooks here. Those little hooks go right into the back here. So you can just slide that on like that and have it stick. Now, I need 2 hands, so I'm gonna mount this, but I wanted to show you that you need to make sure that that lever's on. You can see that this is really secure when you open that lever and then close it, because it actually creates All right, so I think I'm actually gonna give it a shot here. I wanted to show you something here. You have these holes on the back. Those correspond with these right here. So you're going to want to make sure that it lines up, but then you need to actually push it all the way down until you hear it snap. You hear that? So that will hold it in. Otherwise, it's going to fall off. It's going to be really annoying. So I put it here because when I'm sitting in the driver's seat, I can still see my screen behind it. I very rarely use that screen anyway, and so I decided to put this here. I can adjust. You can adjust this. And this little screw here tightens it in place, that little nut, locking nut. So when you find the angle that you want, you can crank that down and lock it in place how you want. All right, so let's go ahead and give it a shot. I'm going to put it into reverse, and you can see it kicks right on. So nice. So I think that it's maybe a little bit high contrast for my liking, but it's not bad at all. The clarity is perfect. I mean, it's really, really nice. You can also, there's buttons here on the back side. So let's see what those do. So you can adjust the brightness. Oh, there you go, contrast. So I can actually turn the contrast down. Ah, there we go. Now we're talking. So go back to brightness. Let's go contrast. And turn the contrast down. Nice. Okay, and the color. All right, so there we go. That's actually, you can't really see because I'm recording the monitor, but that is really, really nice quality. Super happy with that. Okay, and let's put it back into neutral, turn it off. Okay, back into reverse, turns right on. So the transmitter works awesome. It is 2.4G, so just so you know, everything runs on 2.4G. Anything wireless pretty much will run on 2.4G. So you'll have wireless internet. I have security cameras, wireless security cameras. I purposely put everything 2.4G close to this car right now so that I can test for interference, because potentially with a wireless system like this, you have the potential for interference. And you can see that's not a problem at all with this right now. So I'm really, really happy with it. I do want to also point out that they give you tons, that's me, I'm moving this around. They give you tons and tons of space. Or cord, sorry, tons of cord, see all that? To run this monitor exactly where you want it. So before I hide the cord, I'm actually gonna run the cable down through here and out. But I wanna try it here for a few days with the monitor in this position for a few days just to see if I like it. So they give you plenty of cable. You should easily be able to put it anywhere on your window and be perfectly fine. So I'm really happy with it. Actually, it works great. Our video quality is really, really nice. You can adjust the contrast and everything on the monitor, which I think is also nice. So that little fuzz right there, that actually, let me see if I can get it to do it again. That actually didn't show up on the monitor. That showed up just on my camera, so I'm not sure why. But anyway, all in all, this is a really, really great wireless system. Let's see if nope, it's not doing it. I don't know why. I think it might be wireless interference with my camera, actually, because it's not doing that on the monitor. It's only doing it on my camera. But I'll try it for a few days. If I have interference issues, I'll put an update at the top of this review. But really, if you want an easy to install backup system, you're not going to get any easier than this. Every system has to tap into those the backup lights. That's just how it is. So you're going to have to do a little bit of work with that. But not having to run cables all the way up from the back of the car to the front to this monitor was really, really nice. Super easy to install. Maybe, I think probably after I put everything back together, about 2 hours. And I was being very picky, you saw with how I ran my wires. So very easy to do in just a couple hours, and it's a really, really nice addition to the car. I think you guys are going to be happy for the price, especially. This is a really good price for this camera. You get excellent video, and I am very pleased. So I'm going to give this thing 5 stars. I think you'll be happy with it, so go ahead and pick this thing up.